firewall, you just turn on, no, you don't turn on, you just turn off firewalls. So sometimes when there are some programs, especially maybe your antivirus program or something like that, okay, so your firewall will block it. Okay. So you just turn off the firewall. You can do it in the Windows 7. So you can go to Control Panel or just go to Start Fire, get Windows Firewall. Then, sorry, not this one. Windows Firewall, this one, Advanced Security. Then you have turned Windows Firewall on or off. Then you can turn off the firewall for all the profiles. Now I have only home, work, and network, public profile. So the firewall will be turned off. So if it is blocking something, now it won't be blocking. Now that's switching off the whole thing. You can be selective. Okay, now I have turned it off, right? Okay, let me turn it on. Okay, now the firewall is turned on, right? So you can turn on, turn off like that. If you go to the Advanced Firewall Advanced options, here you can see inbound rules and outbound rules. There are many inbound rules. There are outbound rules. You can predict, right? So these rules will apply to the incoming traffic. These rules apply to the outgoing traffic. Okay. So you can basically block based on IP address, name, port numbers. Okay, basically port numbers here, or anything like that. So based on the nature of the traffic. Okay, you can't say like block all JPG files. That's not under the profile of firewall, because JPG is the payload, okay, of a packet. You can block based on the headers of the packet, that is IP address, port numbers, MAC address, okay, like this, not on the payload. See, all these are allowed. So you are able to do remote desktop, but because remote desktop was allowed here. Actually, we need another system to try these things. If you want to block something. You can make a new rule and all. But it's okay, we will see that. Okay, these firewalls are not useful. IP configuration. Now this is important. Okay. Now every computer needs an IP address. Not every computer, every device which has a networking capacity, whether it is a computer or a phone or a printer or a car, whichever has the networking features. Okay, it needs an IP address. Okay. So what's the purpose of an IP address? Identify the computer. Right? Identify the device. Then why do you need MAC address? There is something called MAC address also, okay?
For the connection.
So basically, you have address for identification. So you have MAC address as well as IP address. Okay? So when we come to the networking topics, so I think that probably in this last course, then you will know why we need two addresses. Anyway, so IP address is normally like this. Now there are many classifications of IP address. We are not going to study the classifications and subnetting and all now. That is later. Right now, just how to change the IP address. So IP address is basically like this. It's a 4 section number. Okay, every section will be from 0 to 255. Okay, so IP address is normally you will have a subnet mask and a default gateway. So normally in an IP address, you will have subnet mask and the default gateway also associated with it. Okay. So IP address itself, it does not give you any meaning. It has to be combined with subnet mask and mostly with the default gateway. Okay. So if you see here 192.168.0.70, that's an IP address of this computer. Okay. Mask basically means we will see this later when we do the subnetting in the next book. But it basically says 62.55.255.255.0. That means it compares with the IP address. Okay, that is these first three sections of the IP address. Okay, they belong to the network. That is, if there is any other computer, if it has to be in the same network, then that computer should also start with 192.168.0. If the other computer is 192.168.1, then it's technically in a different network. Even though physically they are connected, they are logically in a different network. They can't communicate. Okay, you try. Okay, now this IP address can be obtained in two ways. Now this is manual assignment. Manually you can assign an IP address, but normally you will have a server in the network called DHCP server. Okay, Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol. DHCP server. The job of the server is to give IP addresses to the clients. So when your computer is booting up, it will search for the DHCP server, it will ask the IP address, the DHCP server will give an IP address from the pool of IP addresses. Okay.
So does it keep changing or it remains constant for the whole?
There are some least durations. 8 days is the least duration. For 8 days it won't change. Even after that, it's using, it won't change. Normally it won't change. But if not used for a long time, it will change. Alright, so if you want to find it, let's do that on the host computer itself, so you can see the varieties. So if you want to know what's the IP address, you can go to that properties and check, or the command is ipconfig. ipconfig. So what's your IP? Now if you have VMware's adapters, the VMware adapter will also have an IP address, okay? Because every adapter will have an IP address, every port will have an IP address. But if you want to check, check this Ethernet adapter. Just neglect this VMware, the first one. It's Ethernet adapter, Ethernet. Not Ethernet adapter, VMware. So this is your real IP address. I'm sure it will not be the same. Okay, combined with the mask, which tells which portion is network, which portion is host. So now all our computer, the first three sections will be same. Because that's the only thing that will be changing is this. That's actually the host ID, the computer's ID. And you will find a default gateway. So default, what do you mean by a gateway? How do you get internet in your homes? You have a device, right? What is that device called? It's called a router or gateway. Router is also gateway. Gateway, router, all same. But router is much more than gateway. But a gateway can be a router. A router can be a gateway. So that's the device that helps you to get out of the network. To get out of LAN to WAN. LAN to internet. Okay, so if the computer doesn't know the IP address of the gateway, then probably you will have only limited access. You can take DS because that is inside the LAN, but you can't take other websites like Google, Facebook. You can't browse into. Okay. Now this IP address, gateway and mask may be given by the DHCP server. I don't know how it got the IP address. I think probably DHCP server. Now if you want to check this, you check the network sharing settings, right click on your network, open network sharing center, change adapter settings. This is adapter, this is the physical one, this is the virtual. Double click, properties, IPv4, okay? We are using v4. We are not yet using v6. IPv4 double ping. So what it says here? Obtain IP address automatically. That means obtain IP address from DHCP server. The DHCP server gives an IP address, that's what it will get. Okay. So DHCP server has given all these things.
So gateway is same for all PCs?
Yeah. If you want to see the MAC address also, you can use ipconfig space /all. That will give you everything, including MAC address. It'll give you a lot. You just go to the top. Ethernet adapter, that's the IP. If you come down, you will find physical address. Ethernet adapter here. Come down a little bit. Physical address. This is the MAC address. So MAC address is technically the real identification. So no other computer in the world or no other device in the whole world will have the same address. Because every companies will be given different MAC addresses. The company itself, so this is Dell, right? So Dell will have their own series of MAC address that no other company will get.
So is this coming from DHCP?
No, this is physical. This is built in. You can't change it. It's burned into the chip. IP address you can change. MAC address you can't change. Technically you can't change. And it's hexadecimal. You see characters, right? After 9 or 10 you use A, or 11 you use B. So A to F or valid characters. Now, if you want to change the IP address, you can go here, you can change it. There is a command for this. ncpa.cpl network control. Yeah, it gives you this. Okay, anyway, you go here if you change the IP address. Now, let's verify this thing. Okay. Now, as per our configuration. Every computer should be, see, the default gateway is 192.168.1. And if your computer is not 192.168.1, if it is 192.168.2, because as per our definition, the first three sections should be same, if it has to be the same network. So if I want to separate the default gateway with my computer, all I have to do is I have to change any of these sections. And automatically the computer would think that it's not in that network, even though physically it's there, logically it's different. So then you will lose the internet. You will lose the internet plus the communication with any other computer. Because now the computer will be isolated totally. Just try it. If I give 192.168, let's say 2.2 or 21.2, whatever. Okay. Now you can't give IP gateway now 192.168.1.2. You can't do this because this is your computer will want that your gateway and your IP address, they are not in the same network. So you better don't give the gateway. Okay. You can see here no connection. And I won't be able to access DS also. No other computer I can access. Because I am totally isolated. I am totally in a different network now, logically. Okay, so IP addresses makes a logical separation among computers. Right, now there is something called DNS also, that DNS portion that we will see later. That part. Okay. pause here. Take a break. LAN or WAN. Now either of this LAN or WAN, it can be it can be either wired or wireless. Now if it is wired, what are the categories that you can have? Okay, so the term Ethernet refers to LAN. Okay, Ethernet means LAN. Okay, now whatever technology, whatever devices, cables, pins, okay, sockets, whatever things is manufactured, it should be according to IEEE 802 dot standard. Okay, everything that comes under Ethernet is IEEE 802 dot standard. It's a standard number. So if it is cables, you can have twisted pair cables. Now this is an example of twisted pair cables. This is the kind of cable that we are using now. And in this also there can be many classifications. There is STP, shielded twisted pair. There is UTP, unshielded twisted pair. Okay, all these things. You have coax, so cable, kind of thick cable. Okay. Optical. Okay, so basically you have three types of cables: twisted pair, coax, and optical. Okay. If you think about the raw transfer method, both in twisted as well as coax, it's electrical signals, whereas in optical, it's light signals. Okay. And similarly, depending upon the cable, you have different types of connectors. You have RJ11 for twisted pair cable, but not the normal twisted pair that we use in the Ethernet. This is like a cable used for telephone lines, where you have only two cables, one pair. Okay. RJ45, this is the connector that we use for cables here in Ethernet, which will have 4 pairs. Okay, you will have 8 cables, 8 distinct cables. And then you have the BNC connector that's used in the coaxial cables. And you have different types of connectors for fiber optic cables. Yeah, fiber cables. Fiber cables, they don't have a fixed standard. Okay. Different companies have different standards. Okay. So that's why it's very important which fiber optic device you use. Let's say you are buying a switch, fiber optic connection capable switch. Then you have to make sure you buy the same company's cable. Otherwise it won't match. But in case of Ethernet cables, they are standardized. You can buy any model of switch or router and you can plug into any model of cables, any company cables. And the other difference is fiber optic. Now here you have only one cable for both sending and receiving. Okay, but in fiber optic you will have 2 cables for each connection. For sending you will have one connection, for receiving you will have another connection. The light has to be separated. This is RS232 serial port. And we have broadband connection, right? So broadband is basically a measure of speed. Now these definitions have totally changed. Before we had dial-up, there was a slow connection, and then we had broadband, that was a speedy connection. Now we have this high-speed connections, dial-up connections. We use the telephone line, the same session. I think we have seen these things, right? Bluetooth, 30 meters, I think, radius. This is a hub. It's a USB. Okay, in case of wireless also, the same thing, but it's radio signals. You can have wireless panels. Say Bluetooth is an example of PAN, personal area network. Very less, like you have this Bluetooth mouse, Bluetooth headset. It's only to your area. Wireless LAN, that's called we call Wi-Fi. You can also have wireless MAN, metropolitan. Within cities, you can have wireless. Within 2 buildings, you can have wireless. That's called WiMAX. You can also have wireless WAN. You can also get wireless through WAN. That's 3G, 4G. They are examples of wireless WAN. No, sorry, 3G, 4G they come under cellular. Wireless WAN, I think you directly get from the satellites. Cellular, that's where you get this GSM. Now, there is no mention of 3G, 4G here because this is old. We have seen this thing before, the topologies. Topology is basically the arrangement, okay? You tell me which topology do we use now here?
Star.
Why?
So it was all feature into one
Switch.
yeah.
So that's a switch. Okay, this is the practically used topology now. Okay, we don't use this. We don't use this. We don't use this. We don't use this. So yesteryears. Okay, this is the old technology. So you'll have centralized control in star topology. The repeaters hub. So this is basically now the computers which are connected. It can be a hub or a switch. Okay, it can be a hub or a switch. So you have to find out. So the hubs are also called repeaters. And you have switches. There's a switch. And you have routers. I'm just running through this because I have a slide. I just downloaded it. I think it's better. See through the slides. Okay, anyway, I'll do this. I'll give you the slide to you. You just read it. Okay. In order to explain the difference between a hub and a switch, you have to know a lot of things. Did it?
So switch is more efficient, yeah?
Yeah, switch is more efficient. But how come this comes in the first book? It is an endless topic. I think this will come in the end plus, so I'm not explaining. I'm just saying right now simply, hub, if you see a hub, you will basically find only these many ports. But if you see a switch, you will find many ports. Okay, hub is basically an electrical device. Okay, because these cables, they have these limitations of signal length. Okay, normally if you are using normal this Cat6 Ethernet cables, Cat6, Cat7 cables, so there are different categories. Okay, so their maximum signal strength is 100 meters, but you won't even get 100, 90 meters maximum. That means if you have a device connected here, and then let's say the other end you have a server or something, you're connecting directly the server to the client. If the distance is more than 90 meters, then the connection will not reach. So if you're sending something, the signal will fade. Okay, the signal will drop. It will lose its power. Because it's electricity, right? Electricity will die. So that's why we have these things. So something should be in the middle to boost the signal. So repeaters, they just boost the signal. That's it. They don't do anything. It's just an electrical device. Okay, you can connect many devices to signals. But a switch is much more smarter. Okay, it's CSNA CD architecture. I'm not explaining here. Because I think we will study this again in N+.
So the hub, if for example I copy some file, I have one file, and then the other computers, if they want to access that file, they can copy.
Yeah. Like let's say you have 4 computers. You plug all the 4 computers in a hub. They form a network.
Unlike with the switch, only
Same,
for the
switch also
specific-
same. They form a network. Okay, but switch is much smarter.
Smart.
Means it can record MAC address. It can know which port belongs to which MAC address. Okay, and it controls collisions and all. There are many differences. Okay, but basically the purpose is same, to connect all devices. Okay. And router, as I told you, it's the gateway. It sits in the border of the network. Okay. So basically, if you have a router, one port will be the internet, the other port will be the LAN. Okay, so all the switches connection will go to the router. And it will have a routing table and all, so it knows how to reach the internet different places. Okay, so right now I'll keep it simple. Okay, we will study this again when we come to the interest, so that time will be very explained. Because right now we are just taking a look at this book. I have crimping tools, that's to cut the cables, put the pins. You have some testing equipments also. So you have made a cable and all. You have to know whether it's getting good signals. So you have this cable testers. Protocols. The basic protocol is TCP/IP. Okay, TCP/IP. Now it's not one protocol. It's a name given to a group of protocols. Okay, TCP/IP is not one protocol. Under TCP/IP you have many protocols. Actually, all the protocols we are studying is under TCP/IP. Okay, we just say IP. Our network we use IP protocol. HTTP, FTP, all those things come under TCP/IP. So 99% of networks in the world they use TCP/IP protocols to shoot. There are other protocols like Apple Talk and other protocols. It's rarely used. All the computers in the world they use TCP/IP protocol. DHCP, Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol. You have something called APICA. That's something like you did this automatic configuration. Okay, so how the only way the computer can get IP address is through DHCP. Now, what if there is no DHCP in the network, or what if the DHCP is lost? Okay, it's shut down, or maybe you don't have connection to DHCP. Then what will happen? Then the computer will automatically come up with its IP address. Yeah, it will come up with a range of automatic IP address. That is called APICA, automatic private IP address. Okay. Now there are different address like private address, public address. Okay. So automatic private address. So in case DHCP does not work, then automatic address gets APICA. Static IP address, that's something if you give manually, that's static IP address. Some computers they can have alternate IP address, like a secondary IP address. It's like 2 IP addresses you can have. But I think now here we don't have that. When it's only one interface used for more than one IP address till the time it is used. Yeah. It says in XP, but I haven't seen any settings here. You have here alternate configuration. Yeah, you can view. But as long as the primary is there, it will just be a standby. Yeah, there is. It's automatic. It's by default it's a APICA, that's secondary alternate configuration. It's actually the same thing. Like if you didn't get the IP address from DHCP, either you can bring up your own IP address or you can give an IP address. So if you don't get the DHCP, then you take this IP address, or you automatically bring up an IP address, the computer itself. You saw these things, right? And they say DNS also. But DNS is very simple. You have this part, right? DNS server. So you can use 2 DNS servers, primary and secondary. It's actually a very simple process, but it's very important in the network. Okay, so this DHCP, DNS, all these things that you are seeing here, it will be applicable for any network. You go to a big data center, this will be applicable. You go to your home, this will be applicable. Even in your phones, this is applicable. Even in your phone will have an IP address, mask, gateway, DNS servers. Your phone may be getting IP address through DHCP. Okay, for anything this is applicable. So what is DNS server? DNS stands for domain name system, or in other words, name recipient. Okay, because what ultimately we do, users, we use names like this, google.com. But the networking equipment and or everything, this google.com, that's basically, when you do that, it's basically going to a server. It's a machine, it's a computer, right? It's a server. So that will have an IP address. So these, all the networking equipments, they use the IP address. Okay? They don't actually use the names. So if you do google.com, actually the router does not know what is google.com. It knows only the IP address. In the routing table of the router, it's the IP address. So this IP address is supposed to be here. You have to go this way for this IP address. Okay, so somebody has to translate, but you can't give IP address, right? Means if you giving IP address, you have to remember the IP address of Google, you have to remember the IP address of Facebook, you have to know the IP address of every single site. Not possible. So we just use names. That's how our brain is, right?
How does the name convert to IP address?
Huh?
How does the name convert to IP address?
Yeah, that's DNS. So the first thing that whenever you do, okay, when you do google.com or Facebook, the first thing that it does is it goes to the DNS server. Now you can find it here. When you did the IP config, you would see the DNS also. You see DNS, DNS servers. 252. The same gateway is also DNS. The secondary is 1.11 DS. The first thing that you do when you type any names is it will go to the DNS server to check what is the IP address corresponding to this name, and it will use that IP address to communicate. Okay, and it will not be done every time. There is some cache. Okay, there is cache concept. So once you do it, second time, third time, not required, because it will be cached unless you delete the cache. Okay, so that's DNS. Domain name system. And before DNS, we had this old concept, it's called NetBIOS. Because previous Windows 95, 98, they used that. And we have TCP IP ports. Okay, ports. What do you mean ports? In English, ports basically means an inlet, like airport, ship port, right? So why is it airport? Because that's the way you get into a country. Similarly, these are the ways you get into a computer or a server, a machine. See, every port is corresponding to a service. Okay, so this port can be open or closed. Your firewall can block this port. So let's say if my firewall is blocking this port number 21. So you cannot do FTP, you cannot download, upload files. If you are blocking port number 80, you cannot do browsing, HTTP. Maybe you can do HTTPS. Okay. So every service has a port number. There are more than 1024 port numbers. Some of them are 0 to